workings. There you go into, I don't know why this subject matter has been coming up recently. It's popular among the spiritual community, at least a portion of it. It's not one I want to give it too much attention because many are obsessed with it for some bizarre reason. It does connect to the alien dimensions. I guess I can go into that tomorrow. I don't really like going into that. What they're doing and all that, the exopolitics. Not that we see it here physically. Not that it really matters in our dimension, but many are obsessed with it because they can't handle our reality that much or don't want to, whatever it might be. Yeah, some have mentally checked out. I say some, but that might be more of like a lot. Some are just obsessed with this subject matter. Yeah, obviously there's some kind of programs here that we'll never probably get any real proof of. Probably not. Just like anything else that's here. So it's all hearsay. I mean, they have the exoskeletons that some military wear. At least the version I'm seeing, at least on a higher level, there are soldiers that wear the exoskeletons, the super soldier suit. Some of them have more enhanced DNA. So like if they do get injured, well, they can handle it better. Let's put it that way. Doesn't mean they don't get injured, but they're a little bit stronger in DNA. Maybe they can heal it, maybe somewhat, or just be able to handle a lot of attacks physically. But then there's others that wear the exoskeleton, and their bodies are just weak. So it's different. Like not all of them have received like a super soldier injection. I believe that does exist here in some form. Of course, I'm not big on the conspiracy groups on that, or some are just completely obsessed with it. Well, even some podcasts have mentally checked out. Some of those that are running these podcasts are just mentally not here. They think they are, but they really aren't because they're obsessed with this stuff. So, more power to you on that one. Yeah, handling reality is more complicated than people might want to think. And is it that important? Not really. I know some feel like the secret space program is important, but it really isn't because, not really. It doesn't help you pay your bills or figure yourself out or start loving yourself. It doesn't help you with any of that. It just helps your mind wander off into no man's land. Eventually, you have to come down to earth, maybe. But something about this subject matter that, I don't know, just needs to be brought up. I'm not sure exactly why. We're in the month of August, so who knows? A turning point month. But those that are new to all this, and then they have no idea how many are so obsessed with the secret space program and all that. Of course, some of them have their own obsessions. So, yeah, it's bizarre out there. But then there's the universal soldier, which I think that's more, I don't know, down to earth, you can say, because they get mentally brainwashed, MK Ultra program, artificial intelligence put into their mind, basically, to program them to be an actual soldier. And you actually see that in our society where, some do feel that they're dead. Their NPC energy, like the NPC side of themselves is more part of them. Just more like a human robot. So you already see that in society already. So it's kind of a dead energy to some level. It doesn't mean they're completely dead, but there's some death in there already. We wanted to, be part of society, wanted to be accepted, do all the, or some of the trolling groups, so they're trolling, there a lot of them are not really that. A lot of them are being controlled, obviously, by the lower dimensions. And yeah, I think I would talk more about magic and things like that, but I don't think many people are that interested in. That's really what's controlling our run. And that goes into the fourth dimension. But it's all about the secret space program. We don't really hear about magic there, mind control. You do hear about mind control, but the real magicians are in the fourth dimension, the fifth dimension. Playing us like chess pieces in a game. I mean, that's what it comes down to. Real powerful mind beings. In the secret space program, you don't feel a lot of powerful mental energy. It's a lot of victim energy there. But the spirit realms, your modern society, they're not even ready. That it's not even a concept. That's the trickery of the fourth dimension. It's like, okay, you need to see us. Okay, we'll just disappear. We'll just operate in another dimension, and we'll just show ourselves, through imagery and secret societies and things like that, and just control you from the shadows. That's all. And it do kind of make themselves known, like through the corrupt governments and all that. But many are just here to victimize and be victims. But yes, this universal soldier is pretty. That's more tangible. Something about that, because at least in the movie, his movies of all of this, that's one of the reasons I tap into. At least it's somewhat relatable, or you can get some kind of image of what the hell they're talking about. At least the universal soldier, they start remembering themselves as human when they're regular, when they weren't being programmed, when they're actually real people. So, and that's another part of like those are awakening to their higher selves, their higher dimensional selves. There's some are going into that phase currently. There's still a lot of confusion here. You're here as a human robot, human avatar, being programmed by society and what's popular, and of course our pop culture is in so much in decay at this point. I mean, society can still destroy itself from within. You don't have to worry about an atomic bomb. You don't have to worry about World War III. Society can still decay, which it's doing right now. I mean, not worldwide, but it's doing a lot of that, at least in the U.S. It's going through an identity crisis. So, I mean, society can still slip into the oblivion, basically, into the unknown. So, there's not much the spirit realm can do about that. I mean, that's why many beings come here to assist. But, when the mudslide begins, there's only so much you can do. It's happening now. You see it with the woke energy, the woke stuff that's going on, and the SJWs, and, in the Barbie stuff's a little bit of that. Just, how woke can it go? God, whatever. So, I mean, society can still be a complete mess, and which it is. So, whatever. It's never been perfectly cheese. Another thing is Julian Assange. You don't hear about him very often. I think he's still alive. Obviously, all the conspiracy theorists say he's been cloned 30 times and whatever it might be, and some are having just a fun time with that one. Same thing with the super soldier stuff. They just have a blast with it. The land of delusion. Yeah, delusion's a lot of fun. It can be really entertaining until you have to come off that high and come back to reality. Of course, you can't prove a lot of stuff either. I mean, obviously everything is real in some reality. With Julian Assange's energy basically tapping into, part of his consciousness of what he's here to do, and how he changed it. Definitely changed the world for us to become somewhere aware of what's going on to a certain level. Of course, you don't hear about him, obviously, but let's see what needs to come through. So, all right. So we're going to the super soldier. Those are obsessed with it. Obviously, some are still living it. They can't let it go. It's a high. It's part of, like I say, the galactic connections. But the idea is to heal that if you can, try to, so you can be somewhat functioning here. Because if you're so obsessed with the alien realities, and you're not really paying attention to yourself here, you know, yeah, you can create another incarnation for yourself. It can be a failed incarnation. There's well, you don't have to call it failed, but it's kind of like misguided or just call it failed incarnation. And eventually you have to come back and figure it. Yeah, that's why people keep coming back because they can't seem to get it right. So they get obsessed on, like, hooked on these things, and they just can't let it go. But either way, like I said, some podcasts are really popular and they've mentally checked out, and others just follow it. I'm not going to go into details of what that means, but anyway, yeah, it should be pretty obvious, but I'm not going to say it. So we'll talk about private sessions, schedule, shop here, have the webinar, social network, behind the scenes. So kind of going a little bit what I'm talking about. Just a little bit. Just, I don't know why this is speaking to me. It just is for some bizarre reason. Edge of Tomorrow, basically the one thing nice. I mean, I've talked about this way back, but it's nice seeing Tom Cruise getting shot a lot of times because it's not exactly the most loved person. But the exosuit sounds like a joyous reality there. It's definitely part of another version of Earth. There's no doubt about it. Of course, many are opponents. Even like, a dying Earth, you can say. Some of these planets, versions of Earth do survive. A lot of them don't. Can this be our future? It can be. Maybe not exactly. But it can have some of that energy, though. It's just like a sequel. What was that? Shit. Okay, but either way. And of course, you have the real version of it to some, at least what they're showing us. Of course, that's pretty. I don't know about this. If that's even real, I would imagine some of this is real. We'll just never. You say it's SSP stuff, I guess. So, yeah, there's no doubt some things like this do exist. It's just somewhat. I don't know about that, but who knows? I thought we were going to go into it. Anyways, Universal Soldier energies. Basically, they just start to remember. Yeah, remembers more as normal. I forget how this works. I think he gets injured or abducted or something like that and put into the program. And they erase their minds, but slowly they start remembering and start fighting each other. I think Dolph Lundgren was the bad guy in this one. Yeah. So it has its moments. It's kind of a cheesy action film, but it does have some elements of how they program their people and everything. Just type in a computer and they do it. Just like society. You put on the internet, people go crazy. And of course, you have Julian Assange. Of course, you have some. It's not looking too good for him right now. For those that don't remember who he is, it's been a while. So, okay. All right. See what we get. Make sure everything's okay. All systems go. Okay, we're going to the super soldier stuff, whatever it needs to be said there. You're going to those that are obsessed with it and can't let it go, which is a surprising large number, which is very not much on TV, I guess. Go to Edge of Tomorrow, Energy as Super Soldier, and then go to the Universal Soldier, get a different perspective of that. And then, even on the government level, whatever is happening now, whatever it can, whatever needs to be known, that's, doesn't have to go into cloning and all that. I mean, that's the other thing about cloning. Before I go into this, we can clone ourselves astrally. You hear about you have another version of yourself. So, like Dave Chappelle is an example of that. We never really know the full story of a lot of this. Jamie Foxx is now white. I don't know if it's still white. You guys that Tyrone movie, the clone Tyrone movie. They said changing black people to white. I didn't see that, and I don't know where you got that from. I was like, somebody said that, but it's like, I don't see where you get that from. But I didn't see that. And see albinos walking around. But a person can ask for another version of themselves to come through their body. That works or not is another story. But that does happen. Like Dave Chappelle was definitely one of them. We'll never know the full story on that. If that other version was forced in or whatever it might be. At least the current Dave Chappelle is. So, all right, blessings. Here we go. Brings me a super solar consciousness. You say with the exoskeleton. Yes, yeah, more of yes, you can say it's more connected to your reality. Obviously, it's not shown in a public arena. Of course, there are mental mind tests done on soldiers, of course, that you'll never really hear about physically. And they're never going to all the atrocities they're doing with that, actually. They'll never make that public. Never. It can be found, but not yet. Your society's not ready for that as of yet. It's kind of like a human drone program, you can say, where humans are programmed to be certain like an MK Ultra, but a human drone program, basically be a certain type of weapon, a weaponized human. And a lot of times, this you see this exos exoskeletons, which they don't really make that public, and they probably never will. Well, not really. But yes, it's something that I can do on other planets, and it's showing what's happening in other dimensions. You can say they're not about to bring it here in the physical, not yet, unless they absolutely have to. Yeah, that's when your world becomes very alien, and yes, fiction can go into reality eventually. But they're not about to disclose that side as of yet. You can say it's the person that's wearing those exo suits are not exactly bulletproof enough, but they definitely do exist. But yes, they do keep a shadow. They keep it under lock and key for various different reasons. Just because it is part of a secret side of your military, they're not about to make public for military intelligence purposes. They want the enemy to see it and so on. So kind of like their secret weapon, you can say. But the mind programs that are going on to turn humans into drones, you can say there's a good portion of your population that can connect to that energy, kind of feel it to their empathic ability. When someone's actually going through it, and you can pick it up astrally, and you feel like it's happening to yourself. So even spirit beings can be manipulated in that regard. It does get not in the physical, but they can be manipulated through all types of energy. Yeah, it's like just because you're a spirit being doesn't mean you can't be mind controlled. Obviously, they don't want to make that public. Well, that's not something they're proud of. Well, they take over their energy field. That is a very powerful. Yeah, it's a powerful mind there. Well, that's how beings control spirit guides and control your society. Yes, hijack spirit guides and control your realm, keep people, society under wraps. So they're going to this awakening state. Basically, humans here eventually become more aware of the spirit realms and the spells that are going on, which happen not aware enough. There's a fear there, superstition, program not to believe it, but eventually they'll have to come more into your society. There's so much backlash to keep it hidden, and that does go into Agartha. That show tells you how powerful Garth is to keep this locked down. Like I said, the spirit beings are manipulating your reality. Yes, are extremely powerful. And society here, as you can see, is not exactly strong enough to see it. Some are, but most are just looking the other way or just don't even believe it. Their soul's not progressed enough to understand it. So that's why they go to the super soldier stuff, because they can remember the traumas of that, no matter what time period it is. But releasing it, healing the super soldier incarnations is critical for one's growth. Now, some hold on to it for ego purposes. Like, look at me, I was pretty awesome 2,000 years ago. They just can't seem to let it go. So that's this. Greetings. This is a universal soldier energy. So think of where the soul is practically drained out of the body, where you have more artificial intelligence running, that human avatar body. And the soul is somewhat there, but not full capacity. Like the soul can't breathe. It can breathe slightly. It's almost like it's in a casket. Similar to, yes, your Joe Biden energy for sure. And others in Congress, not just some, just others played off a lot better than him. But it's like taking the soul and injuring it and just really like putting it into a cage in the body where your consciousness cannot access your complete brain functions. Like, yes, the freedom is gone. And in society itself, how humans here still have free will, but of course they let a lot of programming happen. So they allow free will to program them. Not everybody, but a good portion is allowing it to occur. Well, a lot of it's just soul growth. They never experienced this before. And so that's just why you incarnate so many times. It is frustrating for those who have already been through it. That's why you can pick up on it so easily. You've been through it. I mean, the only way to really understand it is to go through it. And sometimes going to the most extreme version of it. Yes, when you're killing people and whatever it might be. Some not everybody has to go through that, but some do. Just to really see how low can you go with this type of experience. So you wonder why a soul chooses that. Is like a character in a movie. It's you choose a role. Not necessarily what you can bring to it, but what can you learn from it? What can it add to yourself? Such as self-love. May just lose self-love altogether as I gets blacked out. So the Universal Soldier Program is probably one of the most inhumane mental mind control devices ever created. I mean, at least you have an exoskeleton and all that. You're getting hit physically. At least you have your mind in some form. It might not be completely yours, but there's some free will. But these universal soldier programs that are currently happening, where the soul just doesn't have a life at all, lifeless. And you're seeing the wizards here that are very powerful, that are programming society. Also, especially in your pop culture, especially those that bring out a lot of negativity. Like you see evil wizardry here. Let they get the masses to be very demonic, cult-like, and it's actually in the pop culture too. So, like angry fans, like toxic fandom. Let's put it that way. So there's some wizardry going on to create that. And obviously, society is not strong enough to figure that out. It does. A lot of wizardry that's happening here can actually get a soul to be more of an NPC, like turn off their critical thinking and just allow someone else to control them. Greece is the Julian Assange frequency portions of its higher self. I realize Julian Assange has a lot of issues of himself, as you can see. Kind of like a double-edged sword. Kind of did this a lot of this to himself, due to ego purposes. I also felt like he's doing the right thing, but still a lot of ego was involved with it. But there was a lot of good done to it. Is he a government psyop? Not sort of. Yes and no. Yeah, there's some shade there. Well, it's part of your reality, the script of your reality. You can say it's the wizardry, but there is like there's good information, but also disinformation being put out there. So it just shows the information war that's happening on your planet. The confusion that's here, the confusion that will continue. Government corruption. You can say some government entities, were allowing it to be exposed, but then it says like it exposes itself, leaks all this information out about its corruption, and then it just says, oh well, we changed our mind. We're going to come after you now, which is not good. It's like, we want all this corruption released, but then it just has a change of heart. So obviously it's capping down on a lot. Now you do get leaks every once in a while. What's happening, like you say, yes, with your Biden, your Hillary Clintons, and of course your government's just who's going to sell themselves out first. It's like, yes, it's those they're so used to doing that. They don't care. I mean, they're robots themselves. I mean, they just feel like, they like power. So they're addicted to power. You don't care. It's like you want to be known for something, even if you're seen as evil. Of course, they feel like, they're good. Good people are seen as evil all the time. So they just find, but there's a lot of selling out. They just, as long as they have power, the lifestyle is really, that's what this world has to, where it needs healing. Is because so many want the lavish lifestyle, the nice house, really like overkill nice, like just spoiled. And that's why many can't achieve that, because there's nothing there. There's nothing there there's hollowness there. Not always, but in a political level, yes. And they don't care about that either. But they're here to show you who's controlling reality. There's some Anunnaki there. It's not just Anunnaki. There are beings here that don't want to be mentioned for obvious reasons. Some of them, yes, are non-human, of course. They absolutely despise this world. So that's why they feel humans are completely weak. They feel like, just like a cartoon, like a kid's cartoon, how the villain just feels like, humans are just keep falling for their manipulations. And they do, not all. But a good portion of it. It's like from a kid's cartoon. You have this one creature that from the underworld is doing this. Yes. And some of you have probably seen it in your nightmares as kids. It's real. If society, I mean, some are, even conspiracy theories are saying it must be some kind of creature doing this, and it is. It's like it has no humanity because it's not human. Doesn't want to be. That's how they get away with this. But they use the human stooges, the puppets, to control your society. Of course, you can still derail it. But they have to give some, they can't just constantly smash your society. There has to be some winnings, for those that don't want to be under this, but they're not going to make it easy.